Let's go on to the next criminal act from the atheist. Not only do they steal the concept of causality from God, they also steal the concept of reason. How is that?
This is the real Achilles heel, I think, in the entire atheistic enterprise, Vocab, and that is, they say that every thought we have is the result of the laws of physics, because we're just molecular machines, we're just moist robots, we're not really reasoning, we're reacting. Well, if we're not really reasoning, if we're just reacting, then why should we believe atheism or any other thought we have? Why should we believe that our minds are completely controlled by the laws of physics if our minds are completely controlled by the laws of physics? In other words, we don't have any reliable way of ascertaining any truth.
Yep.
They've made reason impossible by their ideology of materialism. I was at the University of Wisconsin at Madison, which, as you know, loves the Bible about as much as UCal Berkeley does.
Right.
I'd gone through the I don't have enough faith to be an atheist position, and I had just given the evidence that God exists, a spaceless, timeless, immaterial being that created and sustains all things. And this kind of older student, probably was a grad student, as I had just given the evidence for a spaceless, timeless, immaterial God, he said, well, can you name anything else that is spaceless, timeless, and immaterial? And I said, yes, the laws of logic. And he said, well, I would argue the laws of logic don't exist then. And so I said, so you're saying they do exist? He said, no, I'm saying they don't exist. I said, no, you're saying they do exist. And he said, no, I'm saying they don't exist. I said, no, you're saying they do exist. He said, how am I saying they do exist? I said, because you're using the laws of logic right now to contradict what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can't think a thought without the laws of logic. And he got a little flustered there, and then he tried to say, well, I would argue then that the laws of logic are just in our minds. I said, are you saying that they're just human constructions, that we invent them, and if that human minds weren't here, the laws of logic wouldn't exist? He said, yeah, that's it. I said, okay, let me ask you this question. Before there were any human minds on the earth, was the statement, there are no human minds on the earth, true? Well, he didn't like that because he realized that the laws of logic couldn't be just human constructions, because with no human minds in existence, that statement is still true.